Did you say something, Sarah?
No, sir.
My dear Mr. Bennet! Have not you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last?
I have not.
Do not you want to know who has taken it?
As you wish to tell me, my dear, I see you have little choice in the matter. Thus we have little objection in hearing it.
Well then.
Little choice in hearing it at all, I suppose.
Why, my dear, you must know. Mrs. Long says that Netherfield was taken by a young man of large fortune, and he is to take possession and before Michaelmas.
What is his name?
Bingley, what a fine thing for our dear girls.
How so? How can it affect them?
How must you be so tiresome? You must know if you'll marry one of them.
Is that his design in selling it here?
Design, bosh, absolute nonsense. But he may fall in love with one of them, and so you must visit.
No, you and the girls may go, or you may send them alone, for you are as handsome as any of them. Mr. Bingley may like you best of the party.
My dear, you flatter me. Yet a woman who has 5 grown-up daughters ought to move past thinking of her own beauty.
In such cases, women have but few beauty to think upon.
It is kind to hear you think so. But you must indeed go and see Mr. Bingley.
It is more than I engage, I assure
But
you.
think of your daughters. Only think what an establishment it would be for one of them. Indeed, you must go, as you know this is the proper way, and it is plumb impossible for us to visit him. Please accompany us.
Oh, will be foiled.
Well,
I dare say Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you. Oh, shall I send a few lines by you? Rest assured I give my hearty consent that he may marry whichever of my daughters he chooses. Though I must champion my dearest Lizzie.
Mr. Bennet, you do no such thing. Lizzie is not a bit better than the others. Yet you always give her the preference. You have no compassion and no respect for my
You mistake me, my dear. I hold them in deep regard. Your nerves have been my old friends, my hearty and constant companions these last 20+ years. Rest assured, Mrs. Bennet, of visiting.
How can you make life of our dear, sweet daughter's future? When you die, you will be left penniless without a roof over their heads.
This is no need, my dear. Since I've already been to visit the esteemed Mr. B. The first to welcome me.
A single gentleman.
Yes, with an income of 5,000. Mr. Bennet, how good you are to us. See, girls, is he not a good father?
Well.
My dear Mr. Bennet, nothing you say shall ever vex me again.
I'm sorry to hear it.
Oh, is he handsome? Oh, is he amiable, kind, well-bred?
That income, please. I'd expect him aged and firm with a permanent sneer. And what? Covered in large pustules bent on eruption. He's to get to the man his life. This is funny.
Papa, is he coming tonight to the ball?
Yes.
You get ready? I am so happy I have my new ribbons for the ball.
You had new ribbons, but I am my bag.
That's not fair, George. It's everything right.
Mrs. Bennet, you urge me to hurry to the ball, yet you dally.
I knew you loved us too well to neglect an acquaintance. there is some quiet excitement within you. Don't keep laughing so Kitty, for heaven's sake, have a little compassion on my nerves. She dares them to please.
Kitty has no discretion of her cough. She's high as some
I do
ill.
not cough in my own use. I beg you not be so pert, Lizzie. Kitty, fix your hair ribbons, you are not look proper, and no one will dance with you.
Yes, Mamma.
Olivia, hold your bodice. Oh, for mercy's sake. Kitty, stop tittering at everything. And marry. Stop glooming all about. Though you are the youngest, Lydia, I dare say Mr. Bingley will dance with you too.
I will be asked first to dance.
But you are the youngest. I will be first.
Me!
No, me. Men get to choose. Right, Mama?
Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Bennet. Miss Jane Bennet and Miss Elizabeth Bennet. Miss Kitty Bennet, Miss Lydia Bennet, and Miss Mary Bennet.
Lydia, Kitty, they're so few men. Will you please just conduct yourselves well?
It's not fair! Charles Bingley and Caroline Bingley. Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy.
Well, you are in rare beauty, Jane. Not a single man would be unaffected by your presence here. If they are not, I am no judge of beauty or man. Oh, please, they are far too easy to judge.
Oh, one of these days, Lizzie, you will meet your match. Somebody will catch your eye, and you have to tame your tongue.
Oh, Mr. Bingley seems quite unspoken.
I just heard that Mr. Bingley's friend is Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. He has 10,000. 10,000? Yeah.
How good of you to come.
Oh, is he not delightfully tall?
And a fine figure of man.
He walks with
A noble mien.
I know who he is.
He inspires great admiration.
You dance, Mr. Darcy.
Not if I can help it.
Pray, sir, there must be some lovely lady you wish to...
None, I thank you.
Mama, what a horrid man!
He seems more pleased with himself than what he sees.
Though we are not judging him too harshly compared to the other rich men who are blackguards.
Well, he is a fine young man. Of family, fortune, and favor. It seems to me he has a right to be proud. Disagreeable! He is the proudest, most conceited man that I've ever laid eyes upon. Oh, Mr. Darcy, I hate seeing you stand about in this silly manner. Would feel much better if I danced with some of these...
No! You know how I detest it unless I am particularly acquainted with my partner. In an assembly such as this, it would be insufferable.
You are too fastidious for... I never met so many pleasant girls in my life. No, several of them that are uncommonly pretty.
You were dancing with the only handsome girl in the room.
I mean, Miss Jane Bennet. She's the most beautiful creature I ever beheld. But there is one of her sisters near you, Miss Elizabeth Bennet, who is very pretty. Do you think ask my partner to introduce you?
Who do you mean? She is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. You had best return to your partner and enjoy her smiles for wasting your time with me.
Well, poor Lizzie to be only just tolerable. Yet, Mr. Darcy should think highly of himself, and he does have a right to be proud.
That is very true, Charlotte, and I could easily forgive him his pride, had he not so mortified mine.
Lizzie, but pride is very concerning, I believe. Human nature is particularly prone to it. Pride and vanity are quite different indeed.
Bye, Charlotte. Well, Mary, Did you enjoy the ball?
I enjoy the rewards of observation and reflection more than cavorting and dancing.
And when no other rewards are to be had, we will have 3 philosophers married.
In spite of the shocking rudeness of Mr. Darcy, Mrs. Bennet was well in bliss. Jane had been much admired by Mr. Bingley and how he danced with her. And hovered near her when he could. It was obvious to all the two fancied each other.
Oh, he's just what a young man ought to be. Sensible, good-humored, lively, and such a kind and gentle smile.
He is also handsome, which a young man ought to be if you possibly can.
Oh, I was very flattered by his attention. I did not expect such a compliment.
Did you not? Well, he does appear a very agreeable man, and I give you leave to like him. You have liked many a stupider person.
Oh, dear Lizzie, hush. We're in Southbury, you said him. Our sisters take any wrong action as permission to do the same.
Oh, dear Jane, you are too kind. Maybe I should be less wild and more kind like you. Yet, I wish you shared more with me, dearest sister, for I do love you so.
Oh, does he really seem to like you, Lizzie?
Jane, he danced with you much of the night and stared at you like a lovesick pup for the rest of it.
Oh, Lizzie, I always speak what I think. I just keep much to myself. Oh, it is not that I do not so feel, Lizzie. I just am timid about sharing my true feelings with others.
I know you do, Jane, but with this good sense of yours, you choose to be so honestly blind to the follies in others. You like Miss Caroline Bingley too, do you? Her manners were not equal to his.
She's a very, pleasing woman when you converse with her.
And as is Mr. Darcy, whose facial expressions may masquerade as a dried-up old prune.
Oh, maybe Mr. Darcy will put on closer acquaintance.
He was quite brusque.
Lizzie, maybe Mr. Darcy's just uncomfortable dancing or making new acquaintances. It may be that she may be failing to account for the differing dispositions and temper.
Jane, you really are too kind. If I could have a man who would love me enough to take me for just £50 a year, I would be very well pleased. Oh, but such a man could hardly be sensible, and I could never love a man who is without his wits.
Lizzie, a marriage must have love, respect.
Yes, beggars cannot be choosers.
You're not married, Lizzie.
Yes, but with father's estate withheld from the female line, we only have our charms. Yet I pray for a match of love for the both of us.
Mamma! The visitors are coming. The regiment shall be here. And I will pull my handkerchief out and choose the most handsome for myself. And we'll be wed and have the envy of all around me.
You are the youngest. You went last.
Watch me.
My dear Mrs. Bennet, I've received this from my cousin, Mr. Collins, for when I am dead, may turn you all out of this house as soon as he sees fit.
Pray do not mention that odious man. You've never gone for my poor fragile nerves. It's the cruelest thing in the world that your estate must be willed away from your own sweet children. All would have been different. I do so wish we would have not lost our poor sweet James, Miss Beaver. He was such a smiling babe, and how you loved to croon to him. You know, you never really came back to us after that. I mean, Lizzie could draw you out, but no one else. I always feared that you blamed me.
Oh, dear one. I could have never blamed you. I just felt so blasted helpless.
All would have been different if I would have known I felt so alone. Even with this house teeming with girls and having that beautiful little lad's mere presence. Very from all of our parents.
There is nothing that any of us could have done. No one can change the law of polite society. Though that letter certainly is odd, for it suggests peacemaking propensities. I propose, my Mrs. Bennet, that we receive Collins with kindness and respect when he does arrive.
My good Mr. and Mrs. Bennet, I had heard much of your daughter's beauty, yet I now gather that the remarks to their beauty has been understated.
How very odd to hear. Hush, Kitty. Upstairs, girls. Now. Go on. Oh, go. Well, very kind, Mr. Collins, I am sure. And I hope with all my heart that this may prove so. For else they will be destitute soon enough. When my dear husband dies.
Not too soon, I hope.
You allude to the entail of this estate?
Well, sir, I do indeed.
As a clergyman, I am so fortunate to be distinguished by my esteemed patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh. As I am aligned to inherit the estates, may I procure an olive branch?
What say you, Mr. Collins?
I am sympathetic to the hardship to my fair lady cousins, and I come prepared to admire them.
I see.
May I be quite frank? The Honorable Lady Catherine de Bourgh suggests that I take a wife. Dare I hope, ma'am, that the future mistress for my parsonage might be found here at Longbourn. Miss Jane Austen.
What good taste you have, Mr. Collins. Yet I must share, Jane is likely to be very soon engaged. Luckily, you may have 4 others to choose from. Shall we go talk in a tour of the home? Your hat, sir.
Yes.
What was that about? Do I have something askew? No, it was rather odd.
You say?
Well, I never met sensitive people, prettier girls in all my life. Come, Darcy, you must admit the elder Miss Bennet to be an angel.
She is certainly pretty, but she smiles far too much.
Jane is a sweet girl, though her mother is atrocious. And her uncle is a trade. I was not that capital. See here, nothing makes someone jot less agreeable to me.
But it would quite materially lessen their chances of marrying well into the world.
It's really Uncle Charles, all agreed that Miss Jane Bennet is a paragon. Her family, however. Come now, dance this ball, Darcy, and redeem yourself. I hate seeing you stand about with a pained look on your face like you're sucking on a sour lemon. You mope about in such a wretched manner, and there is so much joy to be had. You must dance.
I most certainly shall not.
You shall never understand why you were determined
And why you are in such a fever to approve of anything and everyone you may encounter.
Because I wish to live without regret. You may wish to try it.
Ah, Mr. Darcy, you are most welcome to my humble abode, sir. Is dancing not one of the finest refinements of polished society?
Yet, Sir William, it is also in vogue amongst the less polished of societies. Every savage can dance.
Let us put our civility aside to engage in a tad of revelry. Is not Miss Eliza quite fetching down to her wit and intelligent eyes?
Miss Bennet.
Mr. Darcy,
I would be most obliged if you would honor me with this next dance.
Oh, sir, I do not want you to think that I moved this way in order to beg for a partner.
Still, I would be most obliged.
Truly, sir, I do not mean to dance. Mr. Darcy is all politeness.
Well, Lizzie, Mr. Darcy looks at you a great deal.
I cannot think why.
I may guess the subject of your reverie, Mr. Darcy.
I should imagine not.
You surmise the tedious drudgery of this doltish society.
Not at all. I was merely meditating on the great pleasure which a pair of fine eyes in the face of a pretty woman can bestow.
And what lady has the credit of inspiring such reflections?
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Miss Elizabeth Bennet? I'm astonished. Long has she been such a favourite? And pray, when am I to wish you joy?
A lady's mind is constant. It jumps from affection to love, from love to matrimony in an instant. And now you would be wishing me joy.
You have a very charming mother-in-law indeed. She will always be at Pemberley with you.
Anything else to propose for my domestic felicity?
Get your future mother-in-law to holding your tongue. And do cure the younger girls of running after officers like hounds in heat. And endeavour to check that little something bordering on conceit and impertinence which your lady possesses. And here is my gift to you. May you enjoy the entertainment I provide, Mr. Darcy. Mrs. Bennet, might you please pass this on to Jane for me?
Yoo-hoo! Jane, a letter for you, Jane. Come here at once. Jane, a letter for you. Come here, please. A letter from Miss Caroline Bingley. Was it passed on to you from you, Mr. Bingley? What does Mr. Bingley say?
Oh, it is from Miss Caroline Bingley. My dear friend, please be compassionate and dine today with me while my brother, Mr. Darcy, away visiting the officers.
Officers in their red coats. So handsome.
The militia regiment has only recently arrived. Our neighborhood will be much safer with them in it. They're to remain this whole winter, and how their presence will keep us warm.
Keep us warm indeed.
Kitty, Lydia, have you no shame? Do you not know that an act on one of you could have our whole family labeled unfit for marriage?
Mother made with pulpits.
Orange behavior will reflect poorly on polite society. I do hope I see Captain Carter today. He smiled so broadly last time I saw him.
Lydia, you're the silliest girl in the country. I long since suspected it, but now I am convinced.
I am astonished, my dear, that you should be so ready to think your own children silly. If I wish to think slightly of anybody's children, it should not be of my own, however.
Yes, and Papa, it is of great import that we do not become known silly as a family, but we all deserve that.
Oh, Mama, Papa, it is lovely that you thought of me. Oh, please, Father, can I please take the carriage?
No. We'll go on horseback because it seems likely to rain, and then you must stay the night.
Oh, Mama, that would be wholly inappropriate. Listen, Mama, your scheme may be a good one for a tawdry novel. It would be seen as quite rude.
And the gentleman shall have the carriage to go to town, and I think I've only seen one carriage, so you will be trapped.
Oh, Mama, I would much rather go in the coach. It's much more proper.
Mr. Bennet?
Oh,
Jane, it seems you are obliged to go on horseback. Good heavens, woman. Your skills in the art of matchmaking veer positively toward the occult.
Mama, I do not think that you can summon this rain or thunder at will.
Well, then I will pray for rain.
Well, Mrs. Bennet, if our daughter should have a dangerous fit of illness from the exposure to these elements, and if she should die, it'd be a pleasure to know it's all in pursuit of Mr. Bingley, and all under your orders.
Matchmaking may have its virtues, but to breach social etiquette and put my dearest sister in harm's way? Jane, had to send home a letter. A letter! My dearest Mamma and Papa, I am very unwell, which I am to suppose is to be imputed through my getting wet yesterday. My kind friends will not hear of my leaving until I am quite well. Jane begged to go by carriage, begged, and I know she must be very unwell, for she would have come home. I had to see Jane. Oh yes, Mamma did make excuses. The horses are at the farm, Lizzie. Fine, I said, I will walk to Netherfield. Lizzie, you will not be fit to be seen when you get there. Well, what do I care? I will be very fit enough to see Jane, which is all I want. And I do love to walk.
Oh my, Miss Elizabeth Bennet, what a surprise! Miss Elizabeth, you are quite welcome at Netherfield. It is quite kind of you to attend your ill sister, and to come all this way in such earthiness.
It is nothing, I assure you, for I love to walk. How is my Jane?
Miss Bennet slept poorly last night, I'm afraid. She's very ill and not at all well enough to leave her room.
Oh, well, then with your permission, I will go swiftly to her. Where might she be? Thank you.
Really, she looked wild. Her hair wild and disgraceful. Someone swept, and her petticoat 6 inches deep in mud. She looked like a primitive goat herd. I thought Miss Elizabeth looked remarkably well when she came into the room. I'm afraid, Mr. Darcy, that this adventure has rather affected your admiration of her fine eye.
Not at all. They were rather frightened by the exercise.
It has been days. Is it not a sign of devotion? Miss Lizzie never leaves her sister's side. Such a devoted constitution. Such a lovely family. You have such a virtuous way of looking upon every situation and person, dear brother.
I am just relieved Miss Jane Bennet is finally turning the corner.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bingley. My sister is so thankful and sorry to intrude on your family and her. She is so grateful, as am I.
It is a pleasure. I mean not a pleasure that she's ill, but a pleasure that she's being ill here. I didn't want her ill, but it is a pleasure that I get to tend to her. Might I be able to check on her now?
Well, she is lying quietly and is not so restless. I'm sure she'd welcome your presence.
It is thoughtful of you to tend to your sister's needs so kindly indeed.
It quite torments me to see Jane in such distress. Perhaps, Miss Eliza, you had better stay for the present, since your sister is more comfortable. Will you stay for her, Miss Bennet?
Oh, no, thank you. I prefer to read. That is, if you don't mind.
Miss Eliza Bennet despises cards. She's a great reader and has no other pleasure.
I deserve neither such praise nor such censure. I am not a great reader, and I do take pleasure in many things.
Such as poetry. I've heard it said that poetry is the food of love.
Well, of a fine, stout, healthy love, it very well may be. But everything nourishes what is already strong. I do think if it be only a thin sort of inclination, well, one good sonnet could starve it away entirely.
Then, such as walking.
Yes, and dancing.
In nursing your sister, may you have pleasure, and I hope that your comfort will be soon increased by seeing her quite well. Is Miss Darcy grown since spring? Is your lovely sister now as tall as I am?
She is still rather petite. She is now about Miss Elizabeth Bennet's height.
Oh, how I long to see her. Such a countenance, such manners, and so extremely accomplished for her age. It is amazing to me how all young ladies can be so very accomplished. All the young ladies? My dear brother, what do you mean? They all paint tables, cover screens, and net purses. I am sure I've never heard a young lady spoken of for the first time without being informed that she's very accomplished.
I cannot boast of knowing more than half a dozen in the whole range of my acquaintance that are really, truly accomplished.
Nor I'm sure.
Then you must comprehend a great deal in your idea of the accomplished woman.
I do.
Oh, certainly. A woman must have a thorough knowledge of music, singing, drawing, dancing, all the modern languages to deserve the word. She must truly command the room.
And to all this she must add something more substantial, in the improvement of her mind by extensive reading.
Gracious! I am no longer shocked at you knowing only 6 accomplished women. I rather wonder at your knowing any.
Are you so severe upon your own gender?
Perhaps, Miss Eliza, in your sheltered existence, you have been spared the advantage of moving within polite society.
Well, I have never come across such a woman, though I do think that she would strike fear into the heart of any who she encountered.
Why, Charles, are you really serious in considering a dance at Netherfield? Some might consider a dance more a punishment than a pleasure.
If you mean Darcy, you may go to an insult if you so choose, but as for the ball, it is quite the settled thing.
I would like balls infinitely better if they were based upon the conversation rather than the dancing.
Much more rational, my dear Caroline, but not nearly so much like a ball.
Miss Eliza, may I convince you in taking a turn about the room?
Yes, if you wish.
I assure you, it is quite refreshing after sitting so long in one attitude.
One might consider it an accomplishment of sort.
Mr. Darcy, will you join us?
I can imagine only two motives you are choosing to walk together, and with either of those my joining you would interfere.
How shocking. Do you follow him?
No, although I'm quite sure that our most definite way of disappointing him would be silence.
Mr. Darcy, explain.
You either choose this method of passing the time because you have secret affairs to discuss, or because you are conscious that your figures appear to the greatest advantage in walking.
Oh?
If the former, I should get in your way. If the latter, I could admire you much better for my current post.
How shall we punish him for such a speech?
Intimate as you are with Mr. Darcy, I'd suspect you know best.
Indeed, I do not.
Well, I suppose we could tease him, laugh at him.
How impertinent. Tease calmness of temper and presence of mind. And as to laughter, with what subject? No, Mr. Darcy is not to be teased.
Well, it would appear that you, Mr. Darcy, are not to be laughed at. It is a shame to be grieved, for I dearly love a laugh.
The wisest of men may be rendered ridiculous by a person whose first object in life is to joke.
Well, I do hope I never ridicule one who is wise or good, though faults and follies do divert me, and I laugh often as I can. But faults are precisely what you are without.
I avoid weaknesses that expose anything to ridicule.
Such as vanity or pride. Would you consider pride a fault or a virtue?
On that must I reflect.
Because we are trying to find a fault with you.
Yes, vanity is a weakness indeed. But pride, with real superiority of mind, pride is under good regulation.
So you are without fault.
I have faults enough. My temper could be called resentful. My good opinion once lost is lost forever.
You've chosen your fault well. I really cannot laugh at it. You are safe from me.
There is, I believe, in every disposition a tendency towards some particular evil which not even the best education can overcome.
So yours is a propensity to hate everybody?
And yours is to willfully misunderstand them.
Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. What do you think on happiness, Mr. Collins?
Well, Lady Catherine de Bourgh would say,
The good book says, take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. I think that sometimes in our pursuit of happiness, we should just take a moment to enjoy what is in front of us and just be happy.
Oh, look, it's Colonel Forster!
who is that with him?
He's rather dashing.
Colonel Forster!
Ah, the Miss Bennets. Mr. Wickham, let me introduce you to the lovely Miss Bennet.
Good day, Colonel Forster. Colonel Forster, it is lovely to see you here in Meryton. And Mr. Wickham, have we not seen you here before?
No, for I am merely commissioned in this cause.
City girls only need sea uniform to make men appear completely charming.
Mary, are you all right?
I'm feeling just a tad ill. Escort you home. As you wish.
Very well. Mr. Wickham, we have not seen you here in Meryton. Do you not find it to your taste?
Yes, indeed. Everything I see pleases me. My friend Foster first tempted me here at the prospect of good society. Distraction is vital to one's hopes of it.
Come here, Mr. Wickham. Really, Lizzie, you should not keep all these handsome men to yourself.
Lydia!
Sir, you must come stand by me.
If you insist, I would be honored.
You are a gentleman.
Unlike that horrid man, Mr.
Kitty!
Forgive me. Perhaps I should not speak of it, but have you known that gentleman, Mr. Darcy, long?
Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy, well, about a month. He is a man of very large property in Derbyshire, I understand.
I have been connected with his family from my infancy.
Oh, really?
It is true, for Mr. Darcy and I are not on friendly terms. It always gives me pain to speak of him, and I might proclaim before all the world a sense of very great ill usage and greatest regret at his being what he is.
And what is it that he is?
You see, Miss Eliza, a military life is not what I was intended for. The church ought to have been my profession, had it pleased the gentleman we were speaking of just now.
Indeed.
You see, my dear deceased father was once the devoted head of the Darcy's Pemberley estate. Mr. Darcy's father, the late Mr. Darcy, was my godfather. He was kind and quite attached to me. Upon his death, he bequeathed me the role of church pastor at Pemberley, but when it came time for me to take possession, I was refused.
How?
It was a gentleman's agreement. No man of honor could have doubted his intent, but the young Mr. Darcy chose to doubt it.
How abominable to treat in such a way the godson, the favorite of his father.
No words could convey the pain, the betrayal of having a childhood friend, like a brother from infancy, turn so on me.
What motive could he have?
I was innocent to any malice at first, and
I can see your heartache, Mr. Wickham.
I have often thought that had the late dear Mr. Darcy liked me less, his son might have, well, liked me more.
Well, he is not at all liked here. Everyone is disgusted with that audacious pride.
Oh well.
He really should be publicly disgraced.
Someday or other we will get his comeuppance, but it shall not be by the likes of me. For love of his father, I can never defy or expose him.
Mr. Wickham, come here at once. I want your opinion on which ribbons at market suit me best. Lizzie, you've held the attention of Mr. Wickham for far too long. It is now my
Sorry,
turn.
Miss Eliza, excuse me.
What broad shoulders you have.
Well, dear friend, what a surprise to see you here. I just passed your sister Jane, and she strikes me as quite happy.
Oh, she is so happy, Charlotte. Happy as she ever was.
Yet I am surprised by her reserve at the ball. Bingley is undoubtedly falling in love, but he may never have the courage to act on it if she does not help him on.
My dear Charlotte, she does help him on, or well, as much as she can. And if Bingley does not see that, he is a simpleton indeed.
You, Lizzie, are her greatest ally. No one knows her disposition, nor her heart as you do.
That is very true, and they have only known each other a fortnight.
Well, I wish Jane success with all of my heart. Love and marriage is only a matter of chance, and poverty does not allow for love.
Charlotte, you sound so reconciled.
I am older, Lizzie, and have few to no prospects to protect my family or my future. Sadly, I must be realistic.
Oh, come, Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte.
Scared, Lizzie?
Oh, Charlotte. Though this day may look not tears, there is to be a ball this eventide in Netherfield. Oh, and at this ball, my dear, we will dance and love and live.
By that terrible Mr. Why, Lizzie, is Wickham not here? Oh, it's my rotten luck. I set my mind to flirt with him all night.
Have you not heard? Mr. Wickham was kept away by his duties at the regiment.
Miss Bennet.
Oh, Mr. Darcy.
May I have the honor of this next dance with you?
Dance with you, Mr. Darcy.
If you will have me.
Yes. Oh, Charlotte, Mr. Darcy's asked me to dance.
Really? Might you find him agreeable?
Know how vexing it would be to find an agreeable man who is so determined to hate.
Well, Lizzie, do not be a simpleton.
How so?
Do not let your perceived fancy for Mr. Wickham fit you unpleasant in the eyes of a man 10 times his consequence.
Oh, very well.
Miss Bennet.
Mr. Darcy. It is a very fine ball, is it not?
Indeed.
It is your turn to say something now. I spoke of the ball, now you want to make some remark about the size of the room or the number of guests.
Whatever you wish me to say, I shall.
Very well. That reply will do for the present. Perhaps by and by I may comment on private versus public balls, but for now we may be silent.
Do you talk by rule then while dancing?
Sometimes some sort of conversation ought to be so arranged as for the trouble of saying little as possible.
Do you consult your own feelings in this matter, or do you imagine you are gratifying mine?
Both, for I have seen a great similarity between us. We are each of an unsocial tact and disposition, unwilling to speak unless we wish to amaze the whole room.
That is no very striking resemblance to your own character. How near it may be to mine, I cannot pretend to say.
I must not decide on my own performance. When you met us in Meryton, we had just made a new acquaintance.
Mr. Wickham is blessed with such happy manners as to ensure his making friends. Whether he is equally capable of retaining them is less certain.
He has been so unfortunate as to lose your friendship, and in a manner which he is likely to suffer from all his life.
I am sorry, I forget what we were speaking of.
Do you allow yourself to be blinded by prejudice?
I hope not. May I ask to what these questions tend?
Merely to the illustration of your character. I am trying to make it out.
If only, Miss Bennet, you would choose to sketch my character on my honor instead of on another's performance.
Well, if I do not take your likeness now, I may never have another opportunity.
I would by no means suspend any pleasure of yours. Pray excuse me.
I am indeed expecting Jane receiving Mr.
Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy, is the nephew of my esteemed patron?
Such a charming man. So rich.
Mama, please speak a little quieter. Mama,
Be quiet.
Mama, please.
How fond the sisters of Jane and such a promise.
Everyone can hear you.
The legend of your here! Did you listen to me?
well then.
Extremely well, child. You have delighted us long enough.
No, just what I had to do after. Please, speaking of quiet, I'm quite quiet. But Mr. Darcy can hear you quite clearly.
What is Mr. Darcy to me, pray that I should be free to speak?
Oh, please, Mamma, the Jane say.
And is allowed for the preparations of wedding gowns, new carriages. Your family may practice so you can expose themselves to most ridicule this evening, Miss Oh, Jane will undoubtedly be settled in Netherfield in the course of 3 months. For it would have been better to have played their cards with much more spirit or fire and success. Oh, my dearest Jane, I knew she could not be born so beautiful for nothing.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my God.
Oh my God.
It's a
awaits us this evening time, for we are expecting an addition to our family this evening.
You confuse me, my dear. Who?
The person of whom I speak of is a gentleman and nearly a stranger.
A gentleman and a stranger. It is your Mr. Bingley!
It is not Mr. Bingley.
They? Who? Bennet, you are such an ass. You know that?
You don't say God's name in vain, Mama.
Do you intend to vex me?
Only if I can help it.
You have no compassion for my nerves.
Have I told you how radiant you look this fine day?
Mr. Bennet, you are pushing my patience.
Well, if you must know, it is a person whom I twice saw in my whole course of my life.
Go on, Papa.
Mr. Collins, who is bound to...
Is it not more important to have honor than to show honor? Sorry? Hush!
May I hope, Madame, was soliciting a private audience for marriage with Elizabeth?
Yes, uncertain Lizzie will be very happy. Come down. There's no audience.
Well, he has nothing to say to me that anyone else needn't hear. Indeed, I will go away myself.
Lizzie, I insist upon you staying and hearing Mr. Collins.
Believe me, my dear Miss Elizabeth, that your modesty, your sensitivity add to your perfections. But allow me to assure you that I have your esteemed mother's permission for this address. Miss Elizabeth, almost as soon as I saw you, I singled you as a companion for my future love. But before I run away by my feelings, perhaps I shall state my reasons before marrying. First, I think it is right for every clergyman to set the state of matrimony in his parish. Secondly, I think we'll let it to my happiness.
Oh, please stand, Mr. Collins.
Thirdly, perhaps I ought to have mentioned earlier, it is for my esteemed patroness, Lady Catherine Depper.
Oh, Mr. Collins, please, I beg you.
These have been my motives, my dear, and now nothing remains in my way. The most animated rage of my passion, the violence of my affection.
Oh, Mr. Collins, please. I am very sensible to the honor of your proposal, but it would be impossible for me to do anything other than decline it.
I know it's a trend for ladies to reject men, they seem to accept when one first asks for the favor, yes.
Oh, pray, sir, I am not such a lady. Nay, were Lady Catherine to know me, well, she would find me, well, ill-qualified for your situation.
Lady Catherine would think so, yes, of course. No! I cannot imagine it as a proof. You are a delicate flower meant to encourage my
Oh, please cease. I know not how to express my refusal in such a way to convince you of its being one.
You and I, sweetheart, are only charming and perhaps I bless this union.
Mr. Collins, congratulations!
Yes, Miss Elizabeth has not yet accepted my most humble proposal.
What? Lizzie, not accepted you, Mr. Collins. And upon it, Lizzie will be brought. She's very headstrong, vulgar,
Pardon me for interrupting, your madam. But if you're so headstrong and foolish, perhaps you're not be surprised. Sorry. What?
No, you quite misunderstanding. Please, Miss Meryton. Lizzie, you see here. Mr. Collins wishes to marry this, but Lizzie declares she will have Mr. Collins. And Mr. Collins begins to say that he will not have Lizzie.
And what am I to do on the occasion? It seems hopeless business out of my realm of fixing.
How, Lizzie, you insist upon her marrying him?
Shut! I understand that Mr. Collins had made you an offer of marriage, and this offer you have refused.
Well, I have, sir.
Your mother insists upon your accepting it. Is not so, Mrs. Bennet?
Yes, I will never speak to her again.
An unhappy alternative is before you, Elizabeth. Your mother will never speak to you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins.
Yes, go on.
And I will never speak to you again if you do.